BZA. The board members that will hear your case tonight are as follows. My name is William Ray, and I'm the chairperson. To my right, we have Mr. Truslow, Mr. Brown, Mr. Siddall, and Mr. Neal. Mr. Neal's not here. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm just reading. And then to my left, we have Ms. Smith. We also have Mr. Nelson, Mr. Jordan, and the staff members present tonight. Ms. Brooks is not here. Okay. Ms. Clark, Mr. Foster, I don't see him yet. Carrie, pronounce that last name? Vache, yes, and Ms. Working. And Mr. Hughie, to my right here, is our attorney. Because the hearing tonight is a public fact-finding meeting, we are in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act and South Carolina Code 6-29-70. 15 days prior to this hearing, an announcement was printed in the Post and Courier, and a sign was posted on or near the designated property. A notice was mailed to the applicant or the applicant's representative, to the property owners within 300 feet of the property, and to parties of interest. Persons, organizations, and news media have also requested declaration of our meeting tonight and have also been notified. Board members, the meeting notes for June 2nd, 2025 public hearing were sent to you. Are there any changes? If not, can I get a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
And who's seconding?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous and it carries. Thank you. Our case ruling from this and any other BZA meeting are available to the public and reviewed during the inspection during normal business hours at the Charleston County Zoning and Planning Department. The Board of Zoning Appeal is a quasi-judicial body that has the final decision-making authority on the following: appeals on zoning-related administrative decisions. The BZA is authorized to hear and decide appeals only on zoning-related matters where it is alleged that there is an error in the order, requirement, decision, or determination made by the administrative official in the administration or enforcement of the zoning regulation. A 2/3 vote of the quorum present is required to overturn the decision of the planning director in an appeal. We also have special exceptions. And a special exception is issued by the BZA authorizing a particular use in a specified location within the zoning district upon demonstrating that such a use complies with all the conditions and standards specified in the zoning land regulation ordinance, also known as ZELDAR. The BZA must find that a special exception meet all 6 of the approval criteria in the ordinance in order to grant a special exception. A simple majority is required to grant a special exception. And then finally, we have a variance. A variance is a relaxation of the regulations of the ordinance where such an action is not contrary to the public interest and where, to the conditions particular to the property and not the results, actions, or the situation of the applicant or a literal enforcement of the code will result in the unnecessary and undue hardship, and such a variance is consistent with Section 6-29-800 in the Code of the State of South Carolina, Title 6, Chapter 29. The BZA must find that the variance request meets all 7 of the approval criteria in the ordinance in order to grant a variance. A simple majority is required to grant a variance. Our purpose tonight is for interested parties to be heard in order to assist the board in gathering evidence pertinent to each case. If a member of the BZA feels a need for further information to clarify a case, the board has the authority to subpoena witnesses. It must be understood that the rules of your neighborhood or subdivision are binding, and we can take no action to neglect their jurisdiction over your property. In addition to your testimony, our board has been presented with written information submitted by the staff, by the applicant, or the applicant's agent for each case. The information is now considered to be evidence and is entered into the permanent record of this body. It is assumed that it is complete, true, and accurate. In addition, we may have been presented data assembled by the staff for the purpose of clarifying the location and the application's effect on surrounding properties. Our board is empowered to approve with conditions, or to deny special exception or variance requests. We are also authorized to defer a case should there be a need to obtain additional information. The BZA's final decision will be mailed within 10 working days of this public hearing. It will be mailed certified mail to applicants and via regular mail, as I like to call it, to neighbors and communities of interest that are listed. If an applicant's request is approved, the applicant should contact the Charleston County Zoning and Planning Department staff to discuss the next steps in the process. Variances and special exception granted this evening are valid for 12 months after this meeting, and a one-year extension may be granted only if construction or development has been commenced or is being diligently pursued. However, if an applicant's request is denied or disapproved, the applicant wishes to appeal this decision of this board concerning the case, appeals must be addressed to the circuit courts. South Carolina Code 6-29-820 states that an appeal must be filed by the applicant within 30 days after the decision of this board is mailed to them. Failure to appeal within that time limit deprives this court of this jurisdiction over this matter. Because this is a quasi-judicial body, everything said in this meeting must be complete, true, and accurate. All the information provided to the BZA is considered evidence, and this board may certify contempt of circuit court if false testaments are made either in writing or orally. Each person that wishes to address this board will be sworn in by the secretary before they provide testimony or evidence. In order to expedite this procedure, we ask all those who are looking to speak to us tonight, please stand as a group, and Ms. Working will administer the oath.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I will say the oath and you will say, I do. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
We had a few people not stand. Okay. Yes. I will now call each case by case number. Staff will present facts that are pertinent to each case, limited to 5 minutes. I will then call the applicant. The applicant will stand, state his or her name, and the current address for the record before presenting testimony pertinent to the case, limited to 5 minutes. I would then ask for those speaking either in support or opposition to the case. They will follow the same procedure for identifying themselves and are limited to 2 minutes. The applicant will then have a chance to reply to any opposition, which will be limited to 2 minutes. And then the BZA will make a motion to close the case to the public. And finally, the BZA will make a motion concerning the application, stating specific facts of finding and conclusion of law. Tonight, we will hear 2 requests for reconsideration and 6 new cases. Ms. Workin, would you please introduce the first case of reconsideration, case BZA 0425-00857. And I noticed that our monitors aren't on for some reason.
They're not on?
They are not on.
Okay.
Mine is.
No, the monitor's up front. So while we're working through that, ladies and gentlemen, we have monitors up front that help us so that we don't have to look at what's behind us, so we can save our necks a little bit. So just be patient with us as we get that up, or we may not get it up. I don't know. But Ms. Workin, if you would proceed with the first case.
Sure. So this is for a property on 1184 Bees Ferry Road, Unit 103, in the St. Andrews area of Charleston County, TMS number 301-0000809. It was an appeal of an administrative decision, whether it was the Charleston County Zoning and Planning Department and/or its director decision to grant the permit for the interior upfit for Chillax Vapor was an abuse of discretion and contrary to the lawful commercial use restrictions of PD 73E. The administrative decision was affirmed on June 2nd, 2025. The applicant is requesting for the BZA to reconsider the case at the next available BZA public hearing. And it's the appellant that is asking this. To
Okay.
go over some procedures, rule number 20, upon vote of the BZA, a member from the prevailing side may make a motion to reconsider a case at the same or next BZA meeting. Any member may second the motion. If the motion to reconsider the case is granted, then the case will be scheduled and heard by the BZA at the same or next available BZA public hearing, provided all required notifications have been met. A case may be reconsidered only once. A public comment is at the board's discretion. If a motion to reconsider is not made, the BZA's decision stands, and the party may appeal the BZA's decision to circuit court. The final decision and orders for June 2nd cases were mailed on June 13th. Any person with a substantial interest may appeal the board's decision to the Circuit Court of Charleston County within 30 calendar days after the decision is mailed. So there is still time to file. If a motion to reconsider is made and passes by majority vote, the case will be scheduled for the next available BZA public hearing. And at that time, it would be open to the public for written and oral comments. And we do have a full August, so if that were to happen, it would be September at the earliest. This is the board's final decision for this case. And this is the meeting minutes that you just approved. So these are the members that can
Vote.
make a motion to reconsider if they choose to do so. Mr. Nelson, Mr. Brown, Mr. Neal, Ms. J. Smith, and Ms. S. Smith. That's all I got.
Good. Board members, do we have any questions about the summary that we just heard in the procedure? Very good. Do we have anyone that would like to make a motion? I saw Mr. Nelson's hand up already, Mr. Neal's hand
I
up
just have one
already.
question. If no motion is made, then that is, it just moves forward.
The rule,
It dies right there, like in
Right.
committee. Okay,
the rule stands. The previous ruling stands.
thank you.
Any other question of protocol? Okay. So we have this case BZA 04-25-00857. Do we have a motion for reconsideration? Do we have a motion for reconsideration? Do we? Okay, we don't. It fails. Thank you. Our next case is case BZA 04-25-00858.
Okay.
Is this working?
This is also a reconsideration request from the June 2nd meeting. This is for 2301 Captain John Hutt Road on Goat Island, TMS number 571-13-00001. This was a special exception request to establish a short-term rental property, extended home rental, in the Natural Resource Management NR zoning district. It was approved with conditions on June 2nd, 2025. The request is from BZA member Mr. Truslow for the BZA to consider the case at the next available BZA public hearing. The applicant property owner was Benjamin Farmery, sorry. And again, it would have to be a member from the prevailing side that makes the motion. Public comment is at discretion, the board's discretion. If a motion to reconsider is not made, the decision stands. And as I said before, these notices went out on the 13th, so there still is a little time to file appeal if needed. And it would require a majority vote to pass. This is the order. And then these are the folks that were on the prevailing side. Nelson, Brown, Jordan, Neal, Seidel, and Smith. Smith.
So I have to interject. In this instance, it's not the applicant who's made the request. So while I think you all should vote, I'm not sure that the rules allow for a member to ask the board in this particular situation, because the member who's asking the member who's making the request is not an applicant, nor is the member on the prevailing side. So I'm not sure that the rules support this, because this did not come from the applicant. So,
Okay. That's a curveball for me.
What if- Mr. Chair?
Is the applicant present? Ms. Working? Okay.
They are, but again, this is not their request.
Yeah, I just
Right.
want to find out if the applicant's
The
present.
the
Yeah,
applicant, the
they're
applicant is
present.
present, but the applicant's application was approved. So I'm not sure, it's not logical for the applicant to, unless there was something else the applicant wanted that they did not get, the application was actually approved, so.
Okay, so there's no need to reconsider it then? But that's
I'm
not,
saying this before the board. I'm saying it wasn't the applicant's application for reconsideration.
Well, Mr. Chair, if there's no motion out of the 6 that were here, it's a moot point either way, right?
that'd be correct, right, Mr. Huger?
Yes. That would be correct.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I can explain, I think it's correct under Rule 20. I was asked if I wanted to make a motion to reconsider, given the ordinance 9.3 regarding parking and garbage. I was asked, I said, sure. But I think the point is correct that there's, I don't think I can make a motion, technically, I can't make a motion to reconsider.
No, he can't. 'cause he
So
was
I
in
think
the-
it's a moot issue
Yeah, let's just,
under Rule 20.
unless somebody wants to make a motion, just move it.
If anyone disagrees with the board's decision, they can appeal the decision.
The circuit court.
That would be in my opinion, my legal advice would be that would be the proper way for this to go forward. If there are members of the community who are against the prior ruling, it would be proper for them to appeal it, or for someone to ask for someone of the community to ask for a motion for reconsideration.
Okay. Point well heard and understood. Thank you, Mr. Huger. Anyone of this body, this audience here tonight, other than the applicant, that wishes to,
Well, technically, you would not exclude the applicant. I'm just not sure why the applicant would appeal a decision that was in his or her favor, but.
would have opposition with this application, at this time, we would hear that case.
No.
No.
I'm
Not
sorry.
Kate,
No, I'm
no.
sorry. Let me
No,
clarify.
your argument.
If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to request the board, and it's a very simple request, you can request that the board reconsider the prior ruling in this case. That's all you can ask of the board.
Okay.
What's in front of us is whether or not the board wants to reconsider. We're not bringing it to the public anyway.
That's correct. I was
So the board
corrected.
should have whether or not, I believe, point of order, the board should be making the decision if they want to make a motion or not. And if we don't make a motion, we move forward. If we make a motion, we vote on it to whether we reconsider it. At that point, it brings the public in. And I don't think we have to ask the applicant, anybody in the audience.
Well, it's where the request should come from.
And we either have no request, or we can solve it real easily. if there's-
Right. That-
That's when it would come in front of the next.
So you're saying no standing, one of our board has no standing.
Right. It would be proper for someone on the prevailing side to make a motion. Or the applicant can make a request for a motion.
That would be in another meeting.
Well, the hearing would be at another meeting. The request would be at this meeting. And it's just a request, it's just the question. All right.
Thank you. So I want to make sure I word this correctly. Not to exclude the applicant. Is anyone here tonight would like to, I want to make sure I use the right word, want to, not reconsider, but, yeah, that's the right word.
Right. Request a
Request.
reconsideration.
Reconsideration for this case. Okay, hearing none. That's closed. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for helping us with that. We don't have that all the time. So we're going back to the top of the ledger. Next case is case BZA 0525-00862. And Ms. Working, you'll be doing that for us as well, correct?
Yes. The applicant and property owner, Mindy McGuire, is requesting a special exception to establish a short-term rental, extended home rental in the low-density residential R4 zoning district at 2232 Tom Dijon Circle, which is TMS number 355-11-00072 in the St. Andrews area of Charleston County. The subject property and surrounding properties are located in the low-density residential R4 zoning district. Oops. The property contains a single-family residence with 3 bedrooms, an additional bonus room over the attached garage that was constructed in 2017 for Charleston County records. The applicant would like to rent the 1-bedroom finished room over the garage frog and will provide 3 parking spaces pursuant to the Charleston County Zoning and Land Development Regulations Ordinance (ZELDAR) parking requirements. The maximum number of guests allowed will be 4. The property is owner-occupied, and the owner obtained a limited home rental LHR permit in January 2024. LHR permits are limited to 72 days, rental days in aggregate per calendar year. If this request is approved, the maximum short-term rental days is capped at 144, including the days rented as the LHR. This is the zoning ordinance requirement, the 300-foot radius map, aerial photograph. We posted the property on June 16th, 2025. This is the request to rent 1 finished bedroom over the garage. And this is the single-family residence and parking. Surrounding properties, the circle. This is the site plan, tenant notice, and the plat. Regarding the 3 criteria, staff stated that they may meet 1 through 3. Let's see. There are 5 STRs in the Pierpont neighborhood. And there was 1 public comment opposed to this request. The board may approve with conditions, or deny the request based on the board's finding of fact, unless additional information is deemed necessary to make a decision. These are the staff's suggested conditions. 1, prior to zoning permit approval, the applicant shall complete the STRP limited site plan review process. 2, the use shall comply with requirements of Article 6.8. 3, the property shall not be used as a short-term rental for more than 144 days in aggregate during any calendar year. The number of rental days shall apply per lot and not per dwelling. 4, the property owner shall be responsible for ensuring that tenants comply with the Charleston County noise ordinance. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Working. Does anyone, Mr. Nelson? Doing it again, yeah.
Ms. Working, have there been any complaints related to the existing 72 days that the applicant has?
No complaints.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Thank you, Ms. Working. Is the applicant present? Please come forward. Please state your name and address for the record, and please tell us why we should approve your application. Bring that mic down so we can hear you. There you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Mindy McGuire. My address is 2232 Temejin Circle, Charleston, South Carolina, 29414. I have successfully had my short-term rental, and it has gone very well. All of my neighbors are completely fine. My immediate neighbor actually saw the sign in the yard, and he called me, and he's like, I think I might want to Airbnb my house one day. He said, you're Airbnb in your house? And I said, yeah, the back's property. So it has gone so well, and it has not been any kind of issue with any of the occupants, so much so that my neighbor who works outside at home every day didn't even know that I was doing an Airbnb. I'm very respectful of my neighbors. I maintain my yard and the interior of my property exceptionally well, and I do that because I take a lot of pride in hosting people that can come and enjoy Charleston and in a really nice, quiet setting. So I look forward to being able to offer my place for a more extended time period during the year. And I appreciate you letting me speak.
Okay, let's see if anyone has a question for you. Anyone here on my left? On my right? I'll ask you a question. You said everything is going well for you now.
Yeah.
Anything do you expect to change? No?
No, not at all.
Okay, well, good. Well, thank you so very much for your testimony today.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have anyone else to speak in favor of this application? Do we have anyone else to speak in favor? Do we have anyone to speak in opposition of this application? Anyone to speak in opposition? Very good. This case is closed to the public. Board members, you've heard the information provided. At this time, are there any questions of staff or any general discussion? If not, then I'd like to get a motion to approve or deny this case. Anyone?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve this request for a special exception for short-term rental. In making this motion, I find that it meets all three of the criteria required, that one is compatible with existing uses in the vicinity and will not adversely affect the general welfare or character of the immediate community, as evidenced by the applicant's ongoing successful rental business that has had very little effect on the community. I believe that'd be the overriding interest to meet all three of these criteria. But for criterion two, that adequate provisions have been made for such items as setbacks, buffering, to protect adjacent properties from possible adverse influence of the proposed STRP use, from noise, traffic congestion, trash, parking, and similar factors. And that three, that this application complies with all applicable rules, regulations, laws, standards of this ordinance, including but not limited to any use conditions, zoning district standards, and applicable STRP site plan review requirements of the ordinance. In making this motion, I would include the four special conditions recommended by staff.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Thank you. Thank you. It's been properly moved and second. Any question? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye and raising your right hand. Aye. It is unanimous. Do we have everybody's hand? Anybody in opposition? Okay.
There's no opposition.
Okay, good. Your application was approved. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
In 10 days, you'll be getting information from staff letting you know the next steps in the process. Congratulations and good luck.
May I say something, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Just so the general public knows, this special exception does not change the zoning of the property. The letter in opposition believes that the zoning changes. The special exception does not change the zoning of the area.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Our next case is case BZA 05-25-00863. And Ms. Workin will be administering that.
The applicant and property owner, John Ori, is requesting a special exception to establish a short-term rental, property extended home rental, EHR, in the low-density low-density manufactured housing subdivision, MHS zoning district, at 1648 Turns Nest Road, which is TMS number 33107000167 on James Island in Charleston County. The subject property and surrounding properties are located in the low-density manufactured housing subdivision, MHS zoning district. The property contains a single-family residence with 4 bedrooms that was constructed in 1997 per Charleston County records. The applicant would like to rent 4 bedrooms and will provide 6 parking spots pursuant to the ordinance parking requirements. The maximum number of guests allowed will be 8. The property will be owner occupied. The property owner obtained a limited home rental permit in January 2025 and has rented the property for approximately 50 days through June. LHR permits are limited to 72 days, rental days in aggregate per calendar year. If this request is approved, the maximum short-term rental days is capped at 144, including the days rented as the LHR. This is the zoning ordinance requirements, 300-foot radius map, the aerial. We posted the property on June 16th, 2025. This is the residence and parking, surrounding properties, Turns Nest Road, the site plan, tenant notice and plat. Regarding the three criteria, we stated that it may meet all three criteria. We did receive 2 letters in opposition for this request, and there are 24 short-term rentals in Riverfront subdivision. Let's see. The board may approve with conditions, or deny this request based on the board's finding of fact unless additional information is deemed necessary to make an informed decision. In the event the board decides to approve the application, the board should consider the following conditions recommended by staff. 1, prior to zoning permit approval, the applicant shall complete the STRP limited site plan review process. 2, the use shall comply with requirements of Article 6.8. 3, this property shall not be used as a short-term rental for more than 140 days in aggregate during any calendar year. The number of days apply to the lot and not per dwelling. And the property owner shall be responsible for ensuring that tenants comply with the Charleston County noise ordinance. Oh, sorry. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I had a question. I'm inclined to find that the criteria are met. I see that there's a provision for parking. If the applicant had no parking, could they have remote parking in, say, Mount Pleasant, in, I don't know, in Snee Farms on private property more than a mile away and meet the requirements of the statute?
Are you saying, yeah, for this property on James?
Just not on this property,
James
but in
Island?
theory, if they didn't have parking, could they have remote parking miles away?
I mean, they could, if they needed to, they could have a parking agreement, but I don't think that that's gonna,
Would they have to have a parking agreement?
correct, if they were to do that. But we've not had a situation like that before.
Goat Island is a perfect example. They have no parking.
That's correct.
And we approved it and burdened the Isle of Palms with their garbage and their parking. So that's the reason I was asking. But I was just curious.
But this case has plenty of parking.
This one has plenty of parking, and I
Yes.
understand that. And I said I was inclined
Okay,
to agree. I just wondered why we would apply different rules to different people. We ought to be feeding everybody out of the same spoon of justice, in my mind.
right.
Mr. Neal, you had a question?
There's also different rules for Dewey's Island as well.
You had a question, Mr. Neal?
Sir, this is in relation to the public comment letter we got, or one of them. So I'm wondering, to follow up on my fellow zoning person down there that always asks the same questions, is there any history on this property of noise ordinance or anything? But also, it's two-part, is if you could pull up, I think I'm on the right picture or aerial. The letter that is opposing this says that there's no barrier between the two properties, and I was wondering if you could point out which property is the person next door, so we could
Yeah, so
start
it's
to
that
understand.
the larger lot on the
The
side.
larger lot on the left?
Yes, and
is the neighbor.
they submitted a letter to the applicant. They're going to read it in the record.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if
They
there's-
had-
is there anything that we have on record for this property currently with noise ordinances or anything like that, that you're aware of?
No,
Okay. And there's no, I mean, obviously, if we were to make an approval with conditions, we could add fence or something like that if we wanted
You
to do
could.
something like that, right?
you could.
Yep. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Hughes, did you have a comment you wanted to make, sir?
No, it was addressed. It was addressed.
Anybody on my left? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Is the applicant present? That must be Big John. Please state your name and address for the record, and please tell us why we should approve your application, sir.
Sure, my name is John Ori, and my address is 1648 Turns Nest Road, Charleston, South Carolina, 29412.
Mr. Chair, I can't hear him.
Oh,
Could
yeah,
sorry.
you're so far away from the mic.
Yeah, we were in Staples right before we came, and I met a gentleman who was 6'9", and he was 15 years old. So,
Oh.
anyways, I'll talk into the microphone. My name is John Ori, and I live at 1648 Turns Nest Road, and that is in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's 29412. My wife is here this evening, and we both own businesses locally. We live on the property. We live on site. We currently have the short-term rental. license for 72 days, and we were just looking to extend it to 144 days. As I mentioned in my application, I know my neighbors very well. On more than one occasion, my neighbors have actually asked me if they could have their family members who are visiting town stay at the little Airbnb that we have. I've been a member, not only do I own a business on Folly Beach for 14 years, but I've been a member of the Airbnb community for 10 years, and I made a little note that I've got over 277 reviews at a 4.77 rating, so I'm very familiar with Airbnb. My business is, I own a paddleboard company on Folly Beach, so I also offer experiences, which means people come out with me and go paddleboarding as well. I think really the thing that came down to it is my neighbor rents their place long-term, and so there's a privacy fence on one side, and then on the front of that, I have a little garden area with several trees that helps with the privacy in the front street. And then, of course, this conversation I'm going to read this letter from on the other side, there are two trees, two large trees. One is a grand tree, and it's actually on my plat, I believe, or whatever, I had the site, when I made the site. Yes, and like I said, it's a very quiet neighborhood. I know my neighbors well. My wife and I intend to be living in the house at all times. And I have to put my glasses on if I check a note here. Yeah, so basically, we went ahead and when we put in our application, I talked to Mr. Ziegler in our little Zoom meeting, and even though we live on the property, he said that since it was under one roof line, it made sense that I would go ahead and request for all 4 bedrooms, because once I put the application in and I decided to rent more than one of the rooms, I apparently couldn't come back and ask for it to be increased to more than that. So yet again, I think most importantly is I just wanted to validate that my wife and I live in this home, and we look forward to living in this home for many, many years to come. And so it's been a wonderful experience working with the Airbnbers. You know, I grew up in Charleston. They have questions sometimes. It's really nice to be able to share my knowledge of the community with the Airbnbers that we've had so far. That covers why I believe that everything is good with wanting to have the Airbnb. But then, of course, there was a complaint, or there was a letter that was made, and that was my neighbor's parents. So my neighbors are Amanda and Zach, and they have 2 small children. They have 2 dogs. We talk all the time. Brad and Mary Davis are the property owners. And so as I found out on the 4th of July that there was a discrepancy letter that was put in, they apparently said that they were worried about the time frame, so they submitted the letter before they could actually talk to me in person. So on Sunday, yesterday afternoon, I went over there and spoke to Amanda and Zach, and then they called Mary and Brad, and Mary and Brad sent a letter today, and since it was past the time that it could be turned in, I sent an email to Jennifer and Genesis, and they explained that I should read this letter in person so that it could be taken on file. So if this is the right time to do that, I'd be happy to.
Okay?
All right.
You got 1 minute, though.
Okay, yeah. So it says, this letter is to address the communication we had after emailing our concerns to Charleston County Board of Zoning Appeals. The board only allows us to submit 1 email. Please share this with the board. After communicating with John, he informed us his intention to always be living at the short-term address, either in his loft or home, and he will be there to manage any issues that may arise. This is reassuring to us, and we trust John and feel confident he will take care of any of our concerns. The privacy fence between our properties will also be addressed. As John identified, he would be willing to help with the cost to install a fence along with our mutual property line at a later time. With the limited time that we had to respond, unfortunately, we were not able to communicate with John before submitting our original concerns to the board. We have been traveling and not been home. Please contact us if you have any questions. Brad and Mary Davis.
All right. Thank you, sir. Let's see if anyone has a question for you. Anyone on my left have a question for the applicant? Yes, sir.
My only question is, do you mind submitting that to us so that we have it for our record?
Yeah, Yes, sir. I emailed it, and I also brought 10 copies. So
Okay.
I was prepared on both sides.
All right, perfect. And
Would you
just
like
to
to-
confirm,
Just ask him if he wants to admit it into the record.
yes,
So do you want to submit it to the record?
into the record.
Into the record, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we have it. Thank you. Any other questions?
And to confirm, you intend at some point to build a privacy fence between you and your neighbors?
Yes, actually, we talked about that when they moved in, but they had a second child, and then all of a sudden, they were like, we need to focus on what we're doing right now, and so at that point, it became a moot point, until, of course, the letter was sent in, and now I'm having discussed it with you. So yes, no problem there.
All right, thank you very much.
Good point, sir. Anyone on my right with a question, comment? Okay. All right. Thank you so very much for
Yeah,
your
thank you for your
testimony,
time.
sir. Do we have anyone else to speak in favor of this application? Do we have anyone else to speak in favor of this application? Do we have anyone to speak in opposition? Do we have anyone to speak in opposition? Other than the letter we had, this case is closed to the public. Board members, do we have any other questions for staff? Do we have any general discussion? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve or to deny. Yes, sir.
I'd be pleased to make a motion to approve.
I think Mr. Brown was up.
All right, that's fine. I'll defer to Mr. Brown.
I'm sorry, I nodded that way. We had eye contact, my mouth was a little slow. Please forgive me.
Motion to approve BZA 0525000863. According to Article 68, 6.8, short-term rentals, I feel that the applicant in this meets all three requirements of the special exception approval for short-term rentals. Number one is compatible with existing uses in the vicinity and will not adversely affect the general welfare and character of the immediate community. He's already been using this for the 72 days, so I don't feel this would change much with the additional days. Number two is adequate provision has been made or already exists with the 72-day short-term rental. This exists for such items as setbacks, buffering, potential future fences or landscaping, either way, to protect adjacent properties from adverse influence and such as noise and traffic, congestion, trash parking, all that's been taken care of so far. It complies with all applicable rules, regulations, laws, and standards of this ordinance, and not limited to existing conditions or zoning district standards and applicable site plan review requirements. Also, all four conditions that were suggested by staff would be included in this as well.
Okay, so I know Mr. Neal's going to ask you to do something. Oh, okay.
I want to second it because of Mr. Brown's rare emotions. I'm going to be happy to second Mr. Brown.
Okay, okay.
Did I miss something here?
No, we did have the fence issue up.
Or we,
Yep,
I didn't.
he's going to
so we
submit.
need to do it as a condition. So
All right.
if somebody feels we need to add it, that's a
Okay,
different story.
okay. I was just feeling that mood. Okay. All right. So do we have a second?
Yes, second.
Okay. All right. Any general discussion?
I had one comment. There's adequate provision for garbage in this case, unlike the case with Goat Island where there is no adequate or legal provision for garbage. It just can be dumped wherever. So that's my only comment. This applicant clearly has a provision for garbage to his credit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good point. Thank you, sir. Any more comments, questions?
I'll make one comment.
Yes.
I'd like to commend the property owner for actually contacting his neighbor and working out any issues that may have been present and bringing that to the board. That is much appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Makes our job easier,
Yeah,
doesn't
I'd
it?
say.
All right. So we have a motion that has been properly moved and second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye and raise your right hand. Aye on that side. It is, all right, it's unanimous. Congratulations, sir. Your application has been approved. Within 10 days, you'll be getting information from our staff letting you know the next steps in the process. Once again, congratulations and good night. All right, moving quite along. So again, Ms. Working is back up to the podium with case BZA 05-25-00864.
The applicant and property owner, Manuel Montez, is requesting a variance to reduce the required 30-foot rear setback and the required 15-foot interior side setback for two existing detached accessory structures, garage and shed, at 3329 Habitat Boulevard, TMS number 203000087 on Johns Island in Charleston County. The subject property and surrounding properties are located in the agricultural residential AGR zoning district. More specifically, the applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the required 30-foot rear setback by 19.6 feet to 10.4 feet for an existing unpermitted detached accessory structure, which is a 24.2 by 24.2 foot garage, and the required 30-foot rear setback by 19.4 to 10.6, and the required 15-foot interior side setback by 4.7 to 10.3 feet for an existing detached accessory structure, a 10.3 by 10.3 shed. Let's see. Mr. Montes purchased the property from the Sea Island Habitat for Humanity, Inc. in March of 1996. The shed first appears on the 2009 aerial photograph. The shed does not require a zoning permit because it is under 120 square feet pursuant to Zeldar. However, the shed must comply with the required setbacks. The garage first appears on the 2019 aerial photograph. The applicant's letter of intent explains that he is requesting approval to keep the garage and shed in their current locations to continue their use as storage space. Regarding the garage, he is willing to knock down the walls to make a one-room storage area. The garage contains a bathroom in the event the bathroom in the home needs to be repaired or remodeled. The 0.3 acre subject property was platted in 1981. The property is a legal non-conforming lot because the minimum lot size required in AGR zoning district is 30,000 square feet, and the property is 12,960 square feet. In addition, the existing single-family home constructed in 1982 per Charleston County records is a legal non-conforming structure because it is located 29.5 feet from the front property line as depicted on the zoning permit site plan approved in 1981. The AGR zoning district requires a 50-foot front street side setback and a 30-foot rear setback. When required front and rear setbacks are applied, the lot has a buildable width of 28 feet. After factoring in the AGR setbacks, the property has an exceedingly small building envelope of approximately 90 feet by 28 feet, or 0.06 acres. It would be difficult to construct accessory structures that comply with the required setbacks, considering where the home is situated on the property. This is the zoning ordinance requirement, the 300-foot radius map, the aerial photo. We posted the property on June 16th, 2025. This is a picture of the garage and the shed. Habitat Boulevard, site plan, and the 1981 permit, and the plat. Regarding the approval criteria, we stated that it meets 1, 2, 3, and 5, and that it may meet 4, 6, and 7. We did receive one comment in support of this application. The board may approve approval conditions or deny this request based on the BZA's findings of fact unless additional information is deemed necessary to make an informed decision. Based on the BZA's finding of fact, unless additional information is deemed necessary to make an informed decision. In the event the board decides to approve the application, staff recommends the following conditions. 1, the applicant property owner shall obtain all required zoning and building permits for the unpermitted detached garage. And 2, the structures shall not be used as accessory dwelling units, ADUs. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Working? Any on my left? On my right? Mr. Brown, I saw your hand first.
Were the setbacks in place at time of purchase of the property? Do we know if that's been a condition on the site for all this time, or has something been implemented since then?
Well, we can assume that they were different just by looking at this. I don't have the exact information, though, unfortunately. I did a lot of research on this property, but this at least shows that we approved it in this location.
The house, we don't know what the setbacks were from sides.
Right, yeah. But there wasn't like a variance or anything. I think if you look at the plat, all of them are probably legal non-conforming, or wait, let me see. They're all about the same size. I think it has something to do, honestly, with affordable housing. Affordable housing.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Working. Mr. Neal, I saw your hand next.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, Ms. Working, great information. I have 4 quick questions, but I'll go one at a time. How did we get here? Is this code enforcement found it, or are they applying to do something else? Do we know?
Yeah, so in May of 2023, an inspection revealed there was a garage and it didn't have permits.
So the garage triggered it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because you said the shed didn't need a permit, but the garage
Correct.
triggered it. Okay, so that's
Since
where.
they applied for the variance, we
Right.
just went ahead and.
So that's what started this process.
That's correct.
And you said, so the garage does, that answers my second question. So the garage does need a permit.
It
And to
does.
get the permit, that's why we're here for.
Yes.
For this stuff. Okay. So do we know, maybe an arrow, yeah, you got the arrow. I don't know this area very well.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a habitat community, or is it one side of the road is habitat? Or was this a former habitat? And this might be something for the homeowner or the applicant when they go. I just didn't know
Yeah,
if
it
staff
is.
had any answers.
It was owned by the Sea Island Habitat for Humanity in the
Okay,
late
and then
90s.
Goes through that process and deeded
yeah.
through and stuff.
And then in the 80s, it looks like it was owned by the Eastern, I'm going to say that's wrong, probably Mennonite Board of Missions and Charities.
Okay. All right, well,
So,
that will
the
help me when the
religious-
applicant
I
comes up.
think that's a religious
And then,
organization.
the only thing I'm confused on this issue, it says your staff recommendations state that it cannot be used as an ADU. And looking at the pictures, it looks like there's an air conditioning unit in one of the windows. So it looks like it's being used as an apartment. And if we say, if this passes and they can't use it as an ADU, can they still use it as an apartment? Or is it going to be used as an apartment? You see where I'm going with this? Because I know some places, when properties are zoned or whatever units there are, descriptions there are, sometimes that outdoor bedroom is a bedroom and not an ADU, mainly because it doesn't have a stove in it.
Yeah, when they inspected it, when this first became a violation, hold on, let me reset. It was undetermined if anyone was living inside of it. They stated it was just a garage. Like you said, they do have AC and a bathroom.
All right, well,
But
so,
the reason they can't have an ADU on the site is, again, it's just too small of a lot, so they can't qualify for that.
right. So maybe one of the conditions, if approved, is they can't, how would we code that? Would we say it can't be a bedroom, can't be living space? Or can only-
ADU covers that accessory dwelling.
ADU covers that, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm good, Mr. Chair.
Good. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
One question. Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah.
Did the applicant say why he didn't get a permit?
No, they did not say.
Okay. And to follow up on my colleague's question, is there, do we know whether there's a bed? We know there's a shower inside. We saw air conditioning. If there's a toilet, I guess it didn't get permitted for septic purposes. Is it tied in, or is it just, where does it?
Yeah, we'll have to go through building for the plumbing and, yeah, tie in.
Is there a stove inside?
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. Let's get the applicant up. Is the applicant present? Uh-oh. Is the applicant, there we go.
Translate.
Yes. You said your dad is here?
No, he's not.
Well, come up, I'm sorry, come up to the podium.
On down.
I want to make sure I pull that mic down for you.
So my dad is out of the country, and I wasn't sure if I could like represent him or what.
Yes.
How old are you?
He'll be back tomorrow.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm just right.
Okay, so I believe that you can advocate for your father on his
Okay.
behalf. Okay? So did you stand up and swear in?
Yes, I did.
You did. All right. So if you want to, if you like to advocate for your father, you can. If you don't, then we'll make a decision based on our general knowledge, okay?
Okay.
So you wanting to proceed and move forward?
Yes.
Or
All
she
right.
could ask for a continuance.
I'm also advised that you can also ask for a continuance since your father is out of the country.
No, we can.
You
go
want to move forward
Yes.
today? Very good. So please state your name, address for the record, and please tell us why we should approve this
Okay.
application for
So
your
my name
father.
is Lucerito Montes. My dad is Manuel Montes, and the property address is 3329 Habitat Boulevard on Johns Island.
Okay, please tell us why we should approve this application.
Well, this garage is only it's like a downtime for us, so we just meet and just hang around, basically.
You just meet, who is we, did you say?
Well, us, my parents, and my brothers and sisters,
Okay,
so that's like our family time there.
okay, so it's something outside of the house?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you know what, is there anything else you want to tell us? Because I know I have some people here that want to ask a few questions.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the questions. Okay, Mr. Neal?
My only question is anybody living in the garage area, or what's the use of the purpose of the garage?
It's just for storage.
Just
for
what do y'all store? Do y'all have a business or something, and you have
No,
extra tools, or?
My dad, he has a lot of like tools and stuff, so he just stores everything in there. And the reason why the AC is for the humidity. Well, it's not an AC unit, it's, what's it called? The mini split?
What?
Mini split,
Okay, oh,
Mini split, okay.
yeah.
For the HVC. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions on my right? Yes, sir.
Thank you for your presentation. Can you explain why there wasn't an application for a building permit that I understand would be
One of
a
our
requisite?
neighbors, my dad's neighbors, she's a very complicated person. Like, she argues about everything.
I don't understand. You have a neighbor who's complicated.
Well,
We can only just one person at a time. It's all right. You can come up and speak too, but unfortunately, you got to answer that
I mean,
question.
she lives with my parents, so she has more information about the neighbor.
Okay, so we can come back to it if she,
Okay.
okay. Did you have another question?
No, that was my only question.
Okay. All right, let's see if anybody else on my right have a question? What about my left? Yes, sir.
I'll see if I can try and clarify Mr. Truslow's question, and maybe I misunderstood, but I think Mr. Truslow was just curious about why your father constructed it without a permit.
I'm not sure. I guess it seemed easy to do it without having any issues with the neighbor.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did, he has a response for criteria 6, if you want me to read that for the record.
Please.
Okay. The need for the variance may be the result of the applicant's own actions. However, the applicant's letter contends, and quote, "From what I know of building, I have tried my best to stay in the box, knowledge what is legal and what is illegal. The garage is located inside my property line. As previously stated, the law and the existing single-family structure are legal, non-conforming. They were seeking relief from setback requirements and will obtain the retroactive zoning and building permits for the garage."
So they're willing to do the work?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Working. Thank you.
Ms.
Thank
Smith, you
you.
had a question? You were leaning forward? Okay. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, you wanted to, it was your sister you said, did you want to make a comment? Did you want to address the board?
Good evening.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Karina Secondino. My address is 3329 Habitat Boulevard, Johns Island, South Carolina, 29455.
Okay, so tell us why we're here. And can you address, I guess they wanted to know about your complicated neighbor, but, you know, while the call was made and the complaint was registered.
Yes, sir. I've been living at this home for over 10 years now. We've been, my husband's side of the family's been there for quite some time, and we have a good neighborhood. We get along really well with our neighbors for years, but we had this new neighbor, moved in a couple years ago. I would say maybe like about 4 or 5 years ago, and we've been going through a lot of problems with her. We had to give away family, like animals that we had, due to her rude comments. She's done a lot of it's been very complicated with her. So I'm sorry. So we went through a lot with her. I would say it's been a while. We were really good friends at one point, and it came to the point to where she would leave rude comments, and it got to the point to where we had to, like I said, get rid of our animals, and it just kept progressing and progressing. And I feel like one day she just got really upset and wanted to do something to hurt my family, and that was by trying to reach out to you guys on getting our storage knocked down. That was her comment to us. We have a lot of videos of her harassing us, and it just got to the point to where I feel like this was her way to get at us. I was really hoping that she would have came in today to say what the stuff that she would say to me and my family throughout the past year. We've been going through a lot with her, and I feel like that was the main reason why we're here today, because she directly told us herself that this is what she was going to try to put our family through. I do want to say I'm very nervous right now. I've never done this before.
No, you've done well. It's good. You're good.
So I'm just trying to just be here to support my father-in-law. It took us a long time to do what, it was very expensive, and I feel like we should have did more homework on why this building was built in the first place. If we would have known, we would have never taken this route.
Okay, let me stop you real quick.
Yes,
So just to ask a question on behalf of your father, since you're living in the home, it is apparent that he has to bring it up to code, and I would hopefully like to say that your family will be willing to bring it up to code. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
sir.
what we needed to hear. Let me see if any other of these board members have a question for you. Any on my left? Any on my right? Thank you so very much for your.
I'm so sorry. I was
No,
very nervous.
don't be
but
sorry. You did
we've
a
been through
wonderful
lot.
job up here.
Yes, we've been through a lot. There's like videos, pictures, the proof of her trying to harm our animals. It got to the point where we had to give them to family members. We've been through a lot, and it's just we have so many letters from her and harassing, and it's just I feel like this was her way to get to us.
Well, I
and,
got one word for you. Just
Thank you.
2 words, peace be still. That's
Yes,
very important.
we're trying.
Okay, thank you so very much. Do we have anyone else to want to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else? In favor? Yes. Okay. Please come forward. Come to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record, and please tell us why we should approve this application.
My name is Alverna Walker. My name is Alverna Walker. I live on 3323 Habitat Boulevard. I'm the second homeowner in Charleston County to own a Habitat home, and I live next door to the people there, and me personally, I've never had.
Okay, just address us, please.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've never had any problem with them. Matter of fact, the brother, I call him Emmanuel, he comes and periodically he does work for me when I ask him to. I just live in peace next door with them. I don't have a problem with them.
That's good. I'm glad you don't have
And
a
I've been
problem.
living there since October the 16th, 1981.
Oh, boy, you're telling your age now. Come on now.
Homeowner, 43 years ago.
God bless
I bought
you.
that home.
God bless you. God bless you. Let's see if anyone have a question for you. Anyone on my right, left? Thank you, Ms. Walker, for your testimony today. Okay? Anyone else to speak in favor? Very good. Anyone to speak in opposition? Wait a minute, am I missing? Anyone to speak in opposition? Thank you so very much. This case is closed to the public. Board members, do we have any questions for staff? General comments? Therefore, I need a motion to approve or deny. Anybody on my left? Mr. Jordan, you want to take a shot? No? No? Okay, we're getting quiet on that side. Anybody on my right? Okay, there you go. Price is right.
Mr. Chairman, in the case of BZA 0525-00864, I move that we approve this variance request. I find that it meets all 7 criteria that are required for approval. First of all, that there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the property. property. The building since 1996. It's not clear about what the setbacks and so forth were at that time for the property. And that the lot configuration is such that there are exceptions to be considered. Conditions do not apply to other properties in the vicinity. I think that the structures on this property, which has a very small building envelope, are different from other property as we saw on the plats. And therefore, as results in the unnecessary prohibited and usage of the property if all setbacks, current setbacks were adhered to. The variance is not substantial detriment to the adjacent property owners. We've heard testimony from an adjacent property owner here who has no problems with the structures. And it will not establish a permit not permitted in the district. And we've heard testimony that they will bring the property unit up to code. And finally, the variance, I think that there was not an understanding of what would be required. The property owner tried to put the construction within property lines and lack of clarity around setback requirements. And it does not substantially conflict with comprehensive plans. And my motion includes the property owner meeting the two conditions for the property.
Okay, we have an application that has, a motion that's been properly moved in second. Any questions or discussion?
Yeah. Did I hear that it includes all the staff conditions?
He did.
Okay,
at the very
thank you. I
end.
just didn't hear. Thank you.
Any discussion? Any other discussion? All right, very good. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye and raising your right hand. Aye. It is unanimous. Guess what? Congratulations. You made it through. Now you can sleep a little bit. Okay. So within 10 days, you'll be getting information from staff letting you know the right or the next steps in the process. Okay? Congratulations again and good night. Thank you. Okay. Just a little bit after 5. We're doing really well. All right. Ms. Brooks is doing our next case. Next case, BZA 05-25-00865.
Thank you. This is such a treat. I haven't gotten to do this in a while.
Yeah, we'd like to see you back up there. I want to get Joel up there next. Good luck with that.
Oh, man. The applicant and property owner, let's see, Roger Hunt of Stanley Martin Homes, LLC, represented by Andrew Todd Burke of Kinley Horn, are requesting a variance to remove 3 grand trees and to encroach a grand tree more than 25% of the protected root zone area and within a restricted area 3 times the DBH, the critical root zone, for a proposed subdivision, Elms Glen Subdivision Phase 2 at 10165 and 10191 Highway 78 and 3221 Fine Ocean Road in the north area of Charleston County. The subject properties are located in the Elms Glen Plan Development, PD 184 zoning district. Surrounding properties are located in the Community Commercial zoning district and Low Density Residential R4 zoning district, as you can see here on the zoning map. So, the 4 trees in particular are tree number 13, a 24-inch laurel oak, tree 37, a 36.5-inch magnolia, tree 80, double 27-inch, 37.5-inch live oak, and tree 75, which is an encroachment instead of a removal, unlike the other three, is a triple live oak, a 23-inch, 25-inch, and 35-inch live oak. Okay. The applicant is currently in the site plan review process and the subdivision process for the review of the 217 proposed lots subdivision on a combined acreage of 38.71 acres. The applicant's letter of intent explains, quote, "The proposed development for the currently vacant site consists of single-family residences, which requires the removal of 2 mature trees with a C rating and 1 mature tree with a B rating to accommodate construction and infrastructure. Other impacts to grand trees will not exceed 25%, except where the existing impacts are already above that threshold. The plan strategically integrates amenity space where the preservation of significant trees is prioritized. A variance is requested to permit the necessary initial tree removal for site development, allowing for the intended residential use while retaining mature trees within designated amenity areas." And they have a tree impact exhibit and a photo inventory as a reference, end quote. Staff conducted a site visit of the subject property on June 16th, 2025. I'm going to go through some of your attachments here. This is the ZLDR references for the applicable requirements. And then here's the notification radius with the notified properties outlined in the blue. And here are the subject properties highlighted on the aerial, outlined in blue. The zoom in, zoom out on Highway 78. And then here are some just photographs from the site visit. So the 24-inch laurel oak, the 36.5-inch magnolia, the double live oak, and the triple live oak. Unfortunately, Kyle is sick today, so he took these photographs and helped confirm the grading. And some other pictures of the subject property. Or subject properties, I guess, in this case. And then so a site plan, as you can see, kind of up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see the trees with the X's. There are 2 trees with X's and 1 tree with like a circle around it. The circle is the encroachment tree. And then sort of down at the bottom of the plan, there's another tree with an X on it, and that's the one of the 3 trees requested for removal. So, the plat of the properties. Okay. The planning director review and report regarding approval criteria of section 3.10.6 finds the application does not meet criteria 1, 2, 3, and 6, may meet criteria 4 and 7, and meets criteria 5. Oh, yes. Let me get back to my notes here. Okay, does not meet 1, 2, 3, 6, may meet 4, 7, meets 5. Okay. So the board may approve with conditions, or deny this case based on the findings of fact, unless the additional information is deemed necessary to make an informed decision. Please note that each tree may be considered separately for approval with conditions, or denial. In the event the BZA decides to approve the application, staff recommends the following conditions. Condition 1, the applicant shall mitigate the removal of 125 dBH inches by either A, submitting a mitigation plan for review and approval indicating the installation of canopy trees no smaller than 2 1/2 inches in caliber equaling inch per inch replacement. B, by depositing funds into the Charleston County Tree Fund as described in section 9.2.6 of the ZLDR. Or C, a combination of both A and B. The allotted mitigation shall be in place prior to the trees removal. Condition 2, tree barricades constructed of chain link fencing shall be installed around all protected trees within 40 feet of disturbance prior to any construction pursuant to section 9.2.4 of the Charleston County Zoning and Land Development Regulations Ordinance. And condition 3, the applicant shall retain a certified arborist to monitor and treat all grand trees within 40 feet of disturbance through the duration of construction. The applicant shall provide a copy of the tree preservation plan to zoning staff for review and approval prior to zoning permit approval for construction. And condition 4, if the 83-inch DBH live oak tree dies within up to 3 years from the date the structure, it says it's right, the construction is permitted, the applicant shall mitigate the DBH of the tree by either A, submitting a mitigation plan for review and approval indicating the installation of canopy trees no smaller than 2.5 inches in caliber equaling inch per inch replacement. B, by depositing funds into the Charleston County Tree Fund as described in section 9.2.6 of the Charleston County Zoning and Land Development Regulations. Or C, a combination of both A and B. The allotted mitigation shall be in place prior to the tree's removal. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them at this point.
I do have a question. Is there a landscape plan in here? I didn't see one, but were you given one?
They do, as part of their site plan review application, they do have a landscape plan that is put together. I don't know that it was submitted as part of this application, but they do have a very extensive landscape plan for the overall development.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Neal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this great information here. Most of my questions are already answered. I heard you say that this is low-density zoning. Can you define low-density zoning? Because it looks like 217 lots over 38 acres is about 5.6 units to the acre. So is that considered low-density?
I don't specifically remember the range from the comprehensive plan, but there is like a urban suburban sort of residential, like for instance, our R4 district would be considered that, and that's typically 4 dwelling units per acre. But that's all of was approved as part of the plan development when this plan development zoning district was created for these properties, so.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand how low density is almost 6 units per acre. So I can follow up on that on the end or something. My next question, if I may, Mr. Chair, talk about the 3 trees removal totaled 125 inches because tree 80 is a double live oak, so you add all 4 base trees, I guess. That's how we're getting 125 inches, correct?
Yes, that would be that.
But the encroachment is 91%. So basically, it's reasonable to say that tree's probably not going to make it, right?
It's difficult to see from the scale of the drawing, but it's close to the entrance there.
Yeah,
so that's impacted by.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to go back to that slide. I couldn't tell exactly which one it was. Was it there on the far end, or I lost my spot here? Hang on. Let me
Yeah,
go back
so
there.
it's like the top.
Where are you
right.
pointing?
Yeah. So there's,
down. Is there drainage? I mean, I can hold my question for the applicant, but is there drainage problems issues there, or?
I think they'll probably have some more information for you,
Yeah,
but
that's-
it is right where the entrance to the neighborhood is planned, so there'll be some infrastructure involved with the road and
And then on the status of the tree, I saw it's different, some were Bs and some were C or C pluses. Are there any that are, maybe just educate me briefly on the difference between a B tree and a C tree, or is it jagged, broken limbs or something like that? I didn't see anything really in the pictures that made it look terrible.
right, yeah. So you can see on the plan here, I think the blue trees are all B trees. The C trees are the yellow trees.
Just in general, what's the
Yeah,
difference between a B and a C?
There may be some minor defects in some of the B trees and more substantial defects in the C trees.
Since I'm not an arborist, a defect is a broken limb or
I mean,
lightning strike?
it could be some,
Rot?
well, if there were rot or something like that, that would be much more of a concern for the overall continued preservation and health of the tree. There's not an industry standard for grading, so it
Right.
is a little bit.
Subjective.
Yeah, but,
Well, that answers my question. I'm sure the applicant will be able to explain a little bit more for me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Any more questions on my right? Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I just have one. I'm trying to get back to my
Yeah, I know, I lost mine too.
pictures here. I got it. So it appears to me that the images of the trees, so you've got the 27 and slash 35, 37.5 live oak to be removed, grade B per staff. If you look,
Sounds like a good tree.
the middle image of those three looks to be the exact same tree possibly as the next image of the one to be
Yes.
encroached upon. I can't tell which trees I'm looking at. I don't know if it's going to have any.
that is the
Lot of
case.
bearing,
Yeah,
but-
these were provided by Kyle.
Shoot them.
So I've not actually
not-
been out there. These definitely look like a triple trunk here.
Yeah, and also the one,
The
I can
applicant-
say the same on the left. That looks like a triple trunk of the one with the three images. I mean, the page with the three images on it. Looks like a triple. So
Might have
I
better
just,
stuff.
I got confused
think,
when I was trying to figure out.
You know, the middle tree is definitely the triple tree.
Okay.
I believe, though, that it's more likely, because the triple tree is very close to the Von Ocean right-of-way. That the trees, the pictures on either side of that are of the double trunk tree. Sometimes grading is based on the form of the tree. There might not be any broken limbs or defects or dieback or anything like that, but sometimes whether it's, there's some bending or leaning or included bark or something like that between the trunks, then that could give a tree like a lower grade. But for the county purposes, the grading is dead, diseased, or dying, so that's why these trees are on this list at this point, because they were not considered to be dead, diseased, or dying
Okay.
during the inspection.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. What about anybody on my left? Yes, sir.
Ms. Brooks, it's been a while since I've seen county staff put at least 4 different criteria where the recommendation is that it does not meet. So I'm curious about the process to what the county's gone through to get to this point. Have there been multiple iterations of the site plan?
Not so much on our end. I do think we have had some conversations with the applicant, and I believe they do have some more information that they want to add to their argument tonight, so they may be able to help you with some of that information.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions to my left? Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Is the applicant present?
There he is.
Very good. Please state your name and address for the record, and please tell us why we should approve this application, sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Todd Burke. I'm a landscape architect with Kimley Horn. Our address is 1080 Morrison Drive in Charleston, South Carolina. So once again, thank you.
Let me stop you real quick.
Oh, sorry.
So you're the landscape architect,
Yes, sir.
okay? All right, I want to make sure I heard that right.
So the first thing I would love to do, if possible, is to give you guys some handouts, if that is all right.
So you're submitting those to our record?
Yes,
In the
please.
record, okay.
So this is some additional information I'd like to walk you through. Right off the top, there are 2 trees that we believe we can work around, and we would like to drop the requests tonight for 2 of the 3 removals.
Okay, which ones?
Let's
Let's go, Ms. Brooks, if we can go to that middle
Yes.
illustration with all 3 of them.
Yeah, so the first would be the magnolia. That is a C tree. I believe you said it was tree number 37, I believe.
Thank you.
Which number?
I think it was 37. It was the
37,
the
yes.
yellow magnolia. Yep.
Can we go to that illustration where you had all 3 trees lined up? Would that help?
No, so right here, it's really simple. So it's
Okay.
the one on the top and the one on the bottom. The 2 over by Von Ocean Road, we are keeping as an encroachment request and a removal request.
Mr.
Wait a minute.
Chair, what are the numbers? 37 and,
Okay, so I'm going to just show you the pictures. So I think they're saying,
No, he was probably right. We need to go back to that illustration.
okay,
So it's one on the top and one on the bottom. So
Going the
there's
wrong way.
2 live oaks at the entrance.
Wait a minute,
of
okay,
the-
that one.
okay.
Yeah.
So
So
which
that
tree?
one and the one on the bottom.
That one at the very bottom where she's got highlighted.
Yes.
You want to leave it?
No, we would like to withdraw the request to remove for the one she's circling there, and then the one on the top in the parking lot, the magnolia, right there.
So you want to, when I say leave them, but you want
Oh,
to
yes.
let them live?
Yes,
Continue.
yes.
Okay.
And then, so you have some exhibits in front of you. So
what's the second number? The first one was 37. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, it's
The
okay.
second number was what?
13.
So 13 and 37, he's asking to not be included in the motion, in the stuff.
Correct.
Thank you.
correct. And the reason for reducing is twofold. One is the tree on the south of the site was upgraded by the county arborist, Kyle, during the field walk. So we had it as a lower grade tree. And as part of our strategy that I'll bring you through just a little bit was to avoid removing higher grade, nicer trees in the neighborhood because we think they're an asset. So that was one reason. And the other reason was the magnolia up in the parking lot. That parking is not necessary. That the amount of parking that we have there in the amenity space for the neighborhood was not 100% required. So we can still get the required amount of spaces and save that tree. So we made those decisions post application and wanted to put that in front of you. And you can see on those exhibits that I have, both the first and the second page in the packets that I handed out shows what our workarounds will be. In the case of the magnolia in the parking lot, we will simply remove the parking spaces and provide an emergency grasscrete turnaround area for emergency vehicles. That way we can stay within all the rest of the code that we need to stay with. And the one on the south, we are going to shift a drainage pipe to the left, which may or may not result in us losing a lot and losing a home for the neighborhood, but we are okay with doing so. So we have really good plans to remove, or to not request that. Yes. And we have worked that out, and that still works for us. So I wanted to just put that off the top. And then I wanted to address a few questions that I heard. So as far as multiple iterations, the answer is yes. So if you look at the third sheet in your packet, it's the approved site plan from the PD. We started this PD process in 2021. So this has been a long time going through this project. And so We had initially envisioned that area to be a residential section of the neighborhood. However, once again, we really do feel that these trees, that it's a very large grove of nice trees up there, and we believe that to be an asset for the community. And so we decided we could be a lot more flexible with our site design with an amenity space than we could, obviously, with, streets with homes lined up on them. So we made that shift internally before. So not really multiple iterations throughout the site plan review process, but absolutely from inception to end, we were definitely kicking around how we can save these trees. And I'll make a quick point on that. Between the first phase, which is done under the R4 zoning and CC zoning, and the second phase under a PD, we consider it to be one neighborhood. There are approximately 300 homes on approximately 60 acres, and this is the first request we're coming up to you to remove trees. So definitely, we have been able to work around things as much as possible. And on top of that, you're asking about a landscape plan, sir. Right now, we are proposed to plant at least 712 trees in this neighborhood. And then there will be additional trees planted on individual homeowner lots. But I don't know exactly what that number is going to be, so I can guarantee you at least 712 additional trees.
Okay.
So let's get to the area where we still need to make the requests. That is the entrance at Von Osen Road. We have one entrance on 78, in which we are doing multiple improvements to Highway 78, a right turn lane and a left-hand turn lane to alleviate traffic. But we do need a second access for emergency access. And so that's mainly why these properties were put into this neighborhood, was because we needed that access on Von Osen Road. If you look at the last exhibit in your packet, it shows where our entrance is, and it shows some measurements. You see two 220-foot measurements. The SEDOT Arms Manual for driveway spacing on Von Osen Road, because of the posted speed limit and because of the amount of average daily trips exceeding 2,000, puts the driveway spacing requirement at 220 feet. So you can see with the frontage that we control on Von Osen, we do not have enough space to get a offset entrance from both of the two roads on the other side of Von Osen Road. So therefore, in order to get that access approved by DOT, we needed to line it up with Dunmire Hill Road directly across from our site. That was unfortunate because of that really large, awesome tree there in the median. So we are encroaching on it quite a bit. However, we have been engaged in arborists, and we do have a tree preservation plan being worked up, and that arborist will be on site, assuming that this is approved to encroach upon that. And some initial thoughts from him would be, obviously, an arborist performing root pruning on site before any excavation is there, applying a growth regulator, which will help to stimulate new growth as well as help with drought tolerance throughout the construction process. A 3 to 4 inch layer of mulch to help retain moisture in the area during construction, and also a deep root fertilization to give it every chance we can to survive. We really do think it would be a striking entrance to the neighborhood. It's a really awesome tree. But that is the only place, as I've described, where we can get that second entrance, which is required for emergency access for a neighborhood of this size. That leads us to the next tree, which you can see where our entrance is. We don't really have any other option than to cut through this area. So we had two trees that we were going for.
You got
We
about
wanted to
30 more
save the
seconds.
middle, and
We'll save them, because I got a lot of
the other
questions.
one was unfortunately in the way in order to be able to access the site. So I guess in conclusion, since I have a couple seconds left, I do want to say that I think we have demonstrated our willingness and want to save as many trees on this site as possible, while still providing a good neighborhood for the residents, and contributing to some traffic upgrades, as well as working well with what we have for that site. Happy to answer any site-specific questions or anything else you guys may have.
Okay, I'm going to start on my left. Mr. Jordan, with that smile, go ahead and tell me something.
So since you've concluded that trees are an asset and they should save them, why did you want to cut them down in the first place?
Mr. Jordan,
The ones that you were going to cut down,
yes.
now you decide not. What was the reason why you originally wanted to take them down?
Well, the one on the south side was originally graded lower than it was. And so, things that, I'm a landscape architect and I like trees. Not all landscape architects do, but I do. But one of the important things to do is to ensure that when you're developing around existing trees, that you don't leave a hazardous tree in place or something that could, that would fail and die during construction and therefore become a problem. So I try and be very careful about that, and I try and match that with also what I believe to be important, which is tree preservation. But I also think that when you're dealing with any particular site, any property, rarely do you have a perfect property that is, does not have any grand trees or any trees at all, that does not have any wetland, that doesn't have any other sort of encumbrances on it. So I think it's important to do the best you can to preserve as many trees as you can while also providing a neighborhood for people to live in this area, as we know that there is.
How about the second tree?
I'm sorry?
The second tree?
The second tree up in the parking lot, honestly, I don't think it's in that great a shape. And being so close to an area where people were parking, while we could have lost a few spaces and still kept the parking lot in place, I don't think it would have been a good idea. So we opted to remove and provide more parking for the neighborhood. But when it came down to it, we decided that there will be less spaces to park by the pool area in order to preserve that tree.
Thank you.
That was our thought process.
Thank you.
Any more questions on my left? All right, questions on my right? I'll start on closest to me. No? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so I'm lost on all these maps, but I'm easily confused. So you might need a pointer or be able to explain to me a couple of these things. So that I'm looking at page 27 in our application package. So if Ms. Working could pull that up for me. That's the site plan of all these houses and then the trees.
Go ahead.
So, simple math, you submitted for 3 trees and then an encroachment on 1 big monster. So you're getting rid of 2 trees. So on this map right here, if I'm correct from hearing you, the tree that you want to do the encroachment is on the far left, and that's the one that goes into a road that you're telling us we need to encroach on because you got to trim some roots so that you can keep the tree, but it's going to be a huge 91% encroachment. Am I on the right track?
Yes, the final condition would be that tree in the median of a entrance.
And it's this tree right over there. You got a pointer?
I think so. She said this is a pointer.
Right there.
Looks like,
That's the tree, that's the encroachment, that's the triple tree.
Correct.
That's got
Yes, sir.
3 different branches, 3 different bases, that's real
Yes,
big,
sir.
and you're gonna encroach on it. And you're doing that because of parking or just basically line up with the road?
That was because of the entrance, correct. Now, this has nothing to do with parking. This was the entrance into the neighborhood at Von Osen Road, which, as described on that exhibit, or as shown on the exhibit, the only space in which we are able to do so per SCDOT regulations would be directly across where it is located from Dunmire Hill Road.
And that property that's, I don't know which is east or west, but that's owned by PIREO LLC, that's not your property, and it looks like it's going to be real close, the encroachment anyway, right? I mean, what's all the stuff going, are you putting sewer lines, are you putting, what's going on over
That
there?
would run through here. Sewer is going to run through here, as well as a water line that will loop through from 78 to Von Osen.
Well, the question I have, and again, I'm not an engineer either, you've got houses that are right underneath that tree, and if those houses weren't there and we had less density involved here, would that improve the chances of that tree? 'Cause it looks like it's going to get hit. 91% encroachment is a massive encroachment. I mean,
I don't think there's any houses next to that tree.
what's that?
I don't think there's any houses next to that tree that's being encroached.
Underneath it.
It's in an island.
There's
It's
one
an
right
island
there.
for an entrance and an exit.
Can you address that? Right underneath it.
Well,
What is it? What is this? I can't tell what that is.
those are homes, correct.
Yeah.
Not under the actual canopy, but that is the zoning recognized root zone, and
You follow?
I can't see right now to see if
It's an
it
entrance
actually
and
encroaches in that,
exit.
but yeah, the major encroachments will be the road and the utilities. I will say.
Because of the house lot there, it could be more because of the roads and sewer, the sewer and lines and all the other stuff, correct?
I mean, I think that the main encroachment is the road itself. I don't think that the home on the side is going to make any difference. I think the hardest part will be to keep it while splitting the road around it. I will say in this particular case, the elevation works really well. It is on slightly on a mound, just a tiny bit. And so when we come in, we won't have to raise or lower the grade any. So it's really going to be about, our plan is careful root pruning as we, are able to put in the road base and everything. But that's going to be our hardest.
Okay, and if I may follow up, Mr. Chair, the other tree that you're trying to remove, point that out on the map for me and explain. I believe it's number.
Yes, it's very close to that same tree. And you can see it's right in the travel lane for the entrance.
Right next to it.
Yes.
So both of your issues are because of this road connectivity from the SCDOT.
Correct.
And altering the number of, so your statement, or you're testifying that the number of lots has nothing to do with the encroachment on this tree or the removal of that tree. Even though that lot is right there underneath the X, you're saying that the density in those, I don't know how many homes right there, it looks like about 12, 6 and 6 stacked on each other. That has nothing to do with needing to remove that tree. It's all the road stuff.
Correct, and that's why I provided that exhibit, because it shows you that if we met the driveway spacing requirements, we would be able to come down under those trees into that line of homes that you're looking at there. However, we were unable to do so per DOT when we went initially for our application because we did not meet the driveway spacing. You can see that both the 220 from the existing driveways overlap. And so there's no space for us to put it in kind of in between those two streets. So therefore DOT says then you must meet up with the street that's there.
And there's no other way to, there's no other property that you can tie into? I mean, what's the rule on the DOT? There has to be two ins and outs or something? Because you've got 78, and then you're also connected. Are you not connected to another stub out over here on the right, lower section?
Yes, sir.
That's not a connectivity?
No, we do not have any other road connectivity.
Is that a future connectivity that's being built in?
No, sir.
Can you go back, Ms. Working, can you go back?
You know what,
Let me point it out to you,
Okay, I
and
can
you tell
explain,
me.
yeah.
What is this?
Yes.
It's not a future connectivity?
No, so that goes over to road, but there's no connectivity to the right of that. And what you're seeing there, just so you know, the southern property boundary, and right where you pointed, where that crosses over, that long, what looks like a right-of-way, it is a right-of-way, but it's for a Stroberfield branch, so it's a water body that's under a county right-of-way that runs there, and actually the ditch goes along the bottom too there. So just to let you know why there's no connectivity that way.
I don't understand it. That's not a future connectivity to another future
That is
road?
a connectivity to an existing road that's under construction. However, there is nowhere to go on that side of the property.
So that's just tying in. Is that a future phase of your property?
That is a phase already under construction. It's not part of the PD because of that right-of-way's existence. Actually, Charleston County does
now
not
I'm
allow a
connecting.
PD
I
to cross a
understand
right-of-way. So that was done under its street zoning.
Mr. Chair, my last question is, if you allow it, is what happens if you don't get the one tree and the encroachment?
Right now, we don't have a plan for that because there is no other way to get a second entrance that we currently have.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. All right. Any more questions of the applicant?
May I just state one other thing, very briefly? It's just an apology.
I give you 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay, just a quick apology to staff to not provide all of this information initially under our first application. That's it.
very
But they've
kind
been
of you.
great to field some phone calls and help us out.
We have a wonderful staff here. Yes, you're very fortunate. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else to speak in favor of this application? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address for the record and tell us why.
Good evening. My name is Roger Hunt. I live at 547 Cooper Village Lane in Mount Pleasant. I represent the developer. And thank you all for your time this evening. I just had
Just a little louder,
just a one point of clarification I need to ask Andrew to answer if possible. I want to clarify that it's not a 91% encroachment on that tree. I think it's like maybe 50%. Most of the tree is already over Von Osen Road. The additional impact that we would have would be less than 51%, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
That's correct.
It's a combination of existing and proposed.
So, hold on, gentlemen, just one person at a time, Mr. Hunt, if you don't mind,
My
please.
apologies.
That's
I
okay.
needed clarification. So yes, so the large tree that we're proposing to impact at the entrance, I think there's been a question about the percentage of impact that we're actually proposing. It's less than 50%. I don't have the number in front of me, but the 91% impact that was discussed it's overhanging Von Osen Road, so a large portion of that impact is already existing. We're not proposing up to 91%. It's a smaller number that I can't see right now, but but yes, that is greater than the 25% that is allowed by the variance, but it's not as large as has been discussed. And the other tree that we are asking for removal is the one that's overhanging the lots. The one at the entrance, I don't believe is hanging over those lots. And I'm sorry that I don't have an image to look at with me right now, but as the representative of the owner, if you have any other questions for me, I'd be happy to address them. I do want to note that this site was a waste site, a dump site for many of the years before we bought it. We spent a number of years cleaning up trash, construction debris, empty trailers, empty homes that had been used for narcotics dealing. We've had to ask for early clearing of some pine trees in that area to open up the site for visibility because there was a lot of drug use and drug sales in that area. So we put a lot of effort into cleaning that site up and to clean up the community. The entrance, the second entrance to the site that we're proposing is the one that was approved by our PD, and we are required to have a second entrance to develop this site. And I hope that y'all can support our request for this BZA variance tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Thank
Let's see if we got any questions. I'll get to that side. Any questions on my left? All right, Mr. Neal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'm just reading the staff report here, or the submittal. It says for that tree, 23-inch, I'm on page 14 of 30. It says 23-inch, 25-inch, 35-inch, double live oak, encroachment 91%, grade B per staff arborist. So I'm just reading what's here.
I believe that was calculated based on the existing encroachment from Von Osen Road, the paved area under the protection.
Maybe I misspoke.
In addition to what they're requesting.
Maybe I misspoke in saying that you were asking for an additional 91%, but the total encroachment would be 91%. And then the variances here is based on over 25%. So I'm not inferring that it's an additional 91%. I'm just inferring that it's going to be a total of 91% encroachment versus what the rule is, 25%, why it comes in front of our variance. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, yes.
Okay,
Very
so.
good. I follow you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And I know that, like you said, you had different iterations of the plan in the PD. But did they include a different exit near this tree?
We originally tried to, I don't think it was in the PD. I think the PD included an entrance at this exact location. We tried to do it earlier adjacent to the South Carolina school bus facility, but the DOT gave us that reading that they would not allow an exit there. So we purchased the additional lots that would allow us to take that entrance up across from the other road that I cannot remember the name. But we bought those to secure this potential secondary entrance. There were no other areas that we could purchase. We tried to purchase properties south of the school district building or the school bus building, but there was no one willing to sell there, so we were locked into this one. And then the one in the middle, the rental facility, the equipment rental facility, they actually used the primary entrance that we own to get to 78, so we could not.
Okay.
There's a big lake in front of their building, so we couldn't pull one in there.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I have one follow-up on that. So I'm not familiar with the DOT regulations.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm really perplexed on this one because of the encroachment, because it looks like it, when you start digging around, it's going to kill it. But it is what it is. That's what mitigation is for. So that's not hindering my decision. My question really is there a waiver that you can get around the DOT rule instead of the variance from us? Because it's forcing us into choose. That's why I asked the question to the first applicant was, what happens if you don't get this? I don't really have as much heartache on the tree as I do on the encroachment.
Understood.
The tree is further down. Hopefully it can, I mean, that's mitigation. The triple tree is a beautiful tree. I think y'all trying to save it is good and rewarding, but I think it's going to die. So is there another route besides asking for a variance that you can go through the DOT and still get the neighborhood done? 'Cause I think what you're trying to do is great. So explain to me why the rule is so hard on the DOT. Why can't you guys back to the DOT and get a waiver from them?
And I can't answer directly for the DOT, but I used to be a DOT engineer. I used to be one. I worked for the DOT for about 10 years in the upstate, and I know from a safety standpoint, because you have people at opposite road driveways, it could be exiting at the same point. If they don't have the proper separation and distance, they don't have the adequate time to respond to new oncoming traffic, basically. So if you're within 220 feet, you could possibly have people pulling into the road at the same time and creating a traffic hazard. And so when you're directly across another entrance, you can see your oncoming traffic and you have less decisions to make, looking to your right, looking to your left, to decide, what traffic movement you're going to make. But, I can't specifically respond to the actual design guidelines, but I know that because of that short distance, it's a major safety concern.
May I follow up? Is it worth considering exploring that possibility with the SCDOT instead of forcing a vote on this tonight to give you an opportunity? I'm just saying that you're pushing our hands here on a hard
Is that an
vote.
appropriate question?
He can't. I'll give you a chance.
Should I answer your question first? Yes. Yeah, and we would be happy to discuss that with DOT, but we already have. We did discuss trying to have that shorter distance, and Andrew can respond as needed as well, but they would not allow that shorter separation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, we have a question on this side.
We're holding this case to a higher standard than we hold other cases to.
Yeah, I couldn't hear a word she said.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much for your testimony. Do we have anyone else to speak in favor of this application? Do we have anyone to speak in opposition? Do we have anyone to speak in opposition? Very good. This case is closed to the public. Board members, do we have any other questions of staff? Do we have any general discussion?
Jenny, is this correct? It does look like we had one public comment in opposition? Is that, okay, just wanted to note that.
That was in our notes.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Board members, at this time, I need a motion to either approve or disapprove this application.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the case BZA 0525000865. I find that it,
You sure she speaks into the mic?
Could you speak a little louder, please?
okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the case BZA 0525000865 on the grounds that it meets the approval criteria in section 310.6. With the locations that are required for the entrances, I think that it meets the criteria that there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the piece of property. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. The application of the ordinance to this particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of this property. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property or to the public good, and the character of the zoning district will not be harmed by the granting of this variance. The Board of Zoning Appeals shall not grant a variance, the effect of which would allow the establishment or use not otherwise permitted in a zoning district to extend physically a non-conforming use of land or to change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official zoning map. Okay, the need for the variance is not a result of the applicant's own actions, and they have made multiple revisions to the site plan to save as many trees as possible, and they are saving, it looks like 20 or more grand trees. The granting of the variance does not substantially conflict with a comprehensive plan or the purposes of the ordinance.
And the other condition? There's one condition, variance.
Full conditions by staff.
Yeah.
I'd like to motion to include staff conditions that the applicant mitigate the removal of the tree if necessary.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Mrs. Adele.
Can I ask for one point of clarification? Oh, sorry. That we're just talking about tree 80 will be removed and tree 75 would stay, and that's the encroachment. The other two was modified by the applicant, were removed from the application?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that clear?
It's just the.
Just the one tree being removed.
One tree removed and an encroachment on the other one.
That's correct. We clear? Very good. So we have a motion that's been properly moved in second. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There's one. It carries. And
I didn't vote.
the same, you didn't?
I just didn't.
You were staying?
Yeah, I was staying.
Okay. All right, so it carries. Thank you. Where is he? So your application has been approved. Congratulations. Within 10 days, you'll be getting information from staff, letting you know the next steps in the process. At this time, board members, we will take a 10-minute recess and come back at that time. Thank you.
That's a big tree. Can you help me tonight?
Yes, sir.
You weren't here for the last thing when I was commenting on. Really?
No, sir, I had to be away with family. Or was I?
How long you been on that board?
Concern is, go down and they have no provision for parking.
That's correct.
They have no provision for garbage. Except the only thing is, burn it on site.
One of the, so when we sat down at that meeting the other night, the guy asked me, he said, what, 'cause I went, oops.
Sorry to hear that. Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get ready for bed.
I bet. Was it, did your flight get delayed or something?
So we're doing it all the way. That might be a big number. Basically, they want to separate it to do one at a time. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's trees across the street from your house. I love the church. I'm trying to keep the church. After hearing that case, that's really easy. I just don't know. Yeah, you can get there. Oh, I know. Yeah, I need to be a better neighbor. I'm pretty good at it. You gotta come knock on my door.
We're gonna put it in high gear now. Everybody can go home.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Enjoy.
We're growing, we're gonna have a couple more.
It's just been there on a phone call. She works in your fashion. So it's her day off. Exactly. 2 miles to Solon's Eyes. She's got a good beach. That's what I do. And you know, you can have a great house or a bad house. They're also great. That's not bad.
Oh, my mic's, okay, let's reconvene if we would. And we have our next case that will be done by Ms. Brooks. Case BZA 05-25-00-866. Ms. Brooks?
Okay, thank you. The applicant, Selena Goins of Master Home Builder LLC, and property owner Jose De Jesus Navarro are requesting a special exception for a private stable in Mount Pleasant Overlay Residential Area Zoning District at 2944 Bluff Lane, TMS 57800000240 in the East Area, Charleston County. The subject property and properties to the northeast and northwest are located in the Mount Pleasant Overlay Residential Area Zoning District within the sweetgrass basket stand special consideration area. The underlying zoning of this property is special management S3. Properties to the south are located in the town of Mount Pleasant's jurisdiction. The applicant's letter of intent states, quote, "During the process of applying for a new residential permit, we were instructed to bring this building under compliance. The property already had a stable when it was purchased, and it was assumed that it was okay to add another one. When the owner bought this property 2 years ago, the previous owner had horses on site. The stable is for private use and will continue to be used as such. The maximum number of horses would be 6, end quote. Here is the applicable ZLDR requirements. And the zoning district overlay zoning map, the notification radius map, aerial of the subject property, another zoomed out aerial with a subject property in blue. Staff conducted a site visit on June 16th, 2025. Here are some photos. Then you'll see here the site plan, historic site plan for the permit for the horse barn. And then here's the current site plan. And the plat for the property starred in blue. Planning Director review and report regarding approval criteria of section 3.6.5 finds that the application meets criteria 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and may meet criteria 2. The Board of Zoning Appeals may approve with conditions, or deny case BZA 0525000866 based on the BZA's finding of fact, unless additional information is deemed necessary to make an informed decision. In the event the board decides to approve the application, the board should consider the following condition recommended by staff, and that is, prior to zoning permit approval, the applicant shall complete the limited site plan review process for the private stable. That concludes the staff report. If you have any questions, happy to.
Mr. Neal, I see his pen up already.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious, this Billy Swales Boulevard was created, that was part of the Sweetgrass condemnation and stuff like that for the town of Mount Pleasant. I was wondering if this property was sold after, if it was brought together before, if the stable was there before and they dissected the property. And if you don't know, that's fine. The applicant may know and stuff, but I'm just curious because the stable seems to be fine right there because it was already there.
Yeah, so I don't know when the overlay was created, but it was definitely created after 1988. So,
and we don't have any. We don't have any aerials before Billy Swales Boulevard was there to see if it was one property, or anything like that. I mean, it's not critical. I was just curious. See if that.
Yeah,
because the
I don't
stable
have
was
that
existing and it's a private stable, so they're not doing any zoning changes. It's just approval of the special exception, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's fine, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Any more questions on my right? Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Is the applicant here? Yes, sir. Yes. Please state your name and address for the record, and please tell us why we should approve your application.
Good evening. My name is Antonio Ribeiro, 113 Franklin Retreat Court, Charleston, South Carolina, 29492. I'm here representing the Navarro family. Mr. Navarro is here with the blue shirt. Mr. Navarro drove by this property for more than 12 years, dreaming by buying it. On his way to work, he always seen that the previous owner had the horses on the property, and that remind him the way that he grew up, and he wanted to offer his 4 kids the same experience that he had growing up on a small farm, around horses, animals, and he finally come up with the money to buy the property. He went to the owner. They agree on selling and buying the property, and he assumed that the stable that was there, that the zoning was approving that stable. So he did put a metal building that he uses as a stable now. It's an extra stable than the one that is showing there on the image, which will have to bring up to code the new metal building that he did put on the property. He purchased the property a 1.5 years ago. We've been working with the architect to design the home. We applied for the permit for the new residence. That's when this issue was brought up, and we're here today. And this private stable will be used solely for the family personal enjoyment and well-being of their horses, without any commercial operations or disruption to the neighborhood. We believe this request aligns with the community values of privacy and peaceful living. You guys have any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? Anyone? Okay. Thank you so very much for your testimony. Do we have anyone else to speak in favor of this application? Do we have anyone else to speak in? Okay. Thank you so very much. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Marilyn Rosenthal, and I live at 1240 Sharpstown Court in Mount Pleasant. And if you look at the plat plan, you'll see Sharpstown Court is literally right across the street, okay? And I'm happy. I'm very, very happy that they're there, and I'm very happy that they have horses, and I'm glad that they're in the neighborhood. And I know that that's true for many of the people who live in the neighborhood. There was a really wonderful thing that was put into Facebook to explain what was going on. And I'm surprised that there weren't more people here. But I did speak to my closest neighbors, and I am really the closest one right there. And I'm very glad.
Thank you so very much. Anyone else to speak in favor of this application? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak in opposition? Very good. This application is closed to the public. Board members, do we have any questions of staff? Do we have any general discussion? Hearing none. Okay.
Just one clarification. There is no stabling of horses. This is strictly for the owner's horses. That's my understanding. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or discussions? I need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be pleased to make a motion to approve in this case, in case number 05-25-00866. This is a special exception request. There's notice and jurisdiction. I'm cognizant of the ordinance section 6.4.20 relative to stables. This meets the spirit of the law and the intent of the law. The criteria set forth in 3.6.5 have clearly been met. Number one, this is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The reasons are of record. And it fits in like a hand in a glove with the other 5 criteria that are set forth. This is compatible with the existing uses in the community. There's been a neighbor who's provided support. It will not adversely affect in any way that, as far as we can tell, the general welfare character of the immediate community. Number 3, adequate provision is made for things such as setbacks, buffering, fencing, and that sort of thing. Number 4, the application will be developed in a way that will preserve and incorporate the important natural features of the area. There's a stable, and this is just merely an enhancement. Number 5, again, these are overlapping, but this complies with the applicable rules, regulations, laws, and standards of the ordinance, and particularly the intent. Number 5, vehicular traffic and pedestrian movement on adjacent roads shall not be hindered or endangered. So this is my motion, subject to the one condition that's recommended by staff.
Very good. Do I have a second?
Second.
Yes, sir. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. 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 It is unanimous. Congratulations. You're a very lucky man. Beautiful piece of property. Your application has been approved. Within 10 days, you'll be getting information from staff letting you know the next steps in the process. Thank you so very much, and good night. Ms. Working, you're still up there. I'm not working, Ms. Brooks.
Yeah. Still up here.
Yeah.
You're gone for 2 months.
I can't remember anybody's names and known them for over 14 years or so. So go ahead, Ms. Brooks. Our next case is BZA 05-2500867.
Okay. The applicant and property owner, George Michael Rents Jr., represented by James Schultz of Discovery Development Group, are requesting a variance for a proposed single-family residence to encroach within a restricted area 3 times the DBH diameter breast height critical root zone of a 73.5-inch DBH Grand Live Oak tree at 2141 Edisto Avenue, TMS 34306000107 on James Island in Charleston County. The subject property and adjacent properties to the north are located in the low-density residential R4 zoning district. The applicant's letter of intent explains the request. Quote, "I'm requesting to build an addition to my existing home. The addition will penetrate the tree encroachment zone for a grand tree. We have worked with a third-party arborist, Save a Tree, to develop a tree protection plan to ensure the survival and thriving of the tree, both through construction and post-construction. Additionally, our structural engineer has designed the foundation to be minimally invasive pin piers to, again, focus on keeping the tree alive and healthy. Finally, the proposed foundation plan does not take up more than 25% of the surface area of the tree encroachment zone. We are requesting approval to proceed with the construction, please." End quote. Here are the applicable ZLDR requirements for tree protection. And then here is the radius map for notification and the aerial photograph of the subject property and a zoomed out aerial. The staff conducted a site visit of the subject property on June 16th, 2025. I have some notes here that Kyle sent me. This would be considered a B-grade tree based on his site visit. And here's a picture of the tree. And some pictures of the subject property. And then also some information that the applicant provided as well that was in your packet. And the site plan for the property with the tree and the addition shown, and the tree protection plan provided by the applicant. Here's the plat of the property with highlighted here. So for the planning director review and report regarding approval criteria of section 3.10.6, finds the application may meet criteria 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7, and meets criteria 5. Therefore, the Board of Zoning Appeals may approve with conditions, or deny case BZA 05-2500-867 based on the BZA's findings of fact, unless additional information is deemed necessary to make an informed decision. In the event the board decides to approve the application, the board should consider the following conditions recommended by staff, which you'll see here. Condition 1, the applicant shall retain a certified arborist to monitor and treat all grand trees within 40 feet of disturbance through the duration of construction. The applicant shall provide a copy of the tree preservation plan to zoning staff for review and approval prior to zoning permit approval for construction. And condition 2, if the 73.5-inch DBH live oak tree dies within up to 3 years from the date the structure is permitted, the applicant shall mitigate the DBH of the tree by either A, submitting a mitigation plan for review and approval indicating the installation of canopy trees no smaller than 2 1/2 inches in caliper equaling inch per inch replacement. B, by depositing funds into the Charleston County Tree Fund as described in section 9.2.6 of the Charleston County Zoning and Land Development Regulations. Or C, a combination of both A and B. The allotted mitigation shall be in place prior to its removal. That concludes the staff report. Any questions?
Any questions on my left? Yes, sir.
I do have a question, but it's kind of unrelated to this application, but the site plan just has me wondering if an adjacent property owner were to expand their house and the trunk of this tree were located on the neighbor's property, would they need a variance to encroach upon the tree protection zone?
It could very well be possible. We do ask for, trees within 40 feet of any construction. So, this one in particular looks like it's more centrally located to the property, but we have definitely had some situations where it could be close or on the property line, where it would get picked up within that area, but.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do have one quick
Yes,
question, Mr. Chair. On the site plan, it looks like, if I'm reading this correctly, it's 11 feet, 2.5 inches from the tree to the back of the new addition. I'm wondering how close it is to the steps, and are the steps going to interfere if those steps were further down where that door and stuff is? Because it looks like that's could be more impactful than the piers or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know the measurements. I'm hoping that the applicant can verify those.
I'll save that question for the applicant.
Dimensions for.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, everyone, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Brooks. All right, sir, it's your turn. You're the only one left in this room. Please. There's someone else behind? Oh, Lord, I didn't see it.
Michael Rance, I live at 2141 Edison Avenue, Charleston, South Carolina, 29412.
Could you state the name again, please?
George Michael Rance Jr. I go by
Okay.
my middle name, Michael.
Okay, thank you. Please tell us why we should approve your application, sir.
As mentioned in the writing, I'll corroborate that. I own the home. I would like to add a little bit of an addition to it to have a family. My sister told me if I don't add a master bathroom with a tub, no good woman will marry me and have kids. So I'm taking that to heart and would like to add a master bedroom and a master bath and a little bit of a screened-in porch. The yard's very big. I love the tree very much. It's beautiful. It's why I bought the house a year and a half ago. As I got into this process probably 8 to 9 months ago, I read the law and the ordinances. I've hired a third-party arborist to save a tree and hope to be upright and forthright and proactive to do everything by the book. I've already been paying them the last few months with the tree protection plan, with the pre-construction fertilizer to make sure that it is going to live. I spoke to the person in charge at the county a couple months ago. They said they supported it, but I still had to come here. I asked when this was. They said it's in a couple months. So here I am. Hired a high-end structural engineer as well as 2 architects to ensure the survival of the tree. As to the plans, we've called for hand-dug pin piers, which is the highest form that you could do to protect a tree. They'll all be hand-dug. When you look at the steps, that's off of the screened-in porch, which is actually a little bit adjacent from the center of the tree. And there may be 2 6x6 posts that will also be hand-dug, but the steps themselves won't have a deep foundation. The whole point is to preserve the root system and to maintain the beauty of the tree. So that's why I'm here. I appreciate the opportunity to present my case before y'all, and I appreciate y'all's time.
Very good. I got one question. Is your sister older than you?
2 years older, she's got 3 kids.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Well, I guess the second question, you must walk around with a copy of your house when you try to date or something. I don't know. We got questions over here on the left. A comment? No?
No, she's right. I mean, he needs a bathtub.
Go ahead, please, Ms. Smith.
Will there be irrigation in the backyard for the tree during like droughts and heat waves?
There is irrigation, and it'll be to the degree that Save a Tree, the third-party arborist, calls out, which I think there's like 11 pages in there. But there's also monthly treatments that the third-party arborist comes by with fertilizer, water, et cetera. There's no redirection, there's no gutters or anything. It's all free-falling off to ensure the survival of the tree. And the surface area, even good point on the property line question. There's not that much surface area taken up by it, so that the water, whether it's rain or artificial, can get to the root system.
Thank you.
Any more questions on my left? Yes, sir.
Just one comment and one question. The comment is, I applaud you for coming in for a variance for the tree protection area instead of a variance to cut the tree down. So thank you for doing that, and I know it costs you extra money. These tree people are smart, but they're expensive. But really, just a small question about the steps to the porch. So those aren't steps, that's the actual porch sticking out on the site plan?
Yeah, so everything that's in like the checkered shadowing is a structure off the back.
Steps coming out from that door on the bottom, I was just wondering, because it looks like it's closer, the corner of that step, if those are steps, is closer than the back of the house, which is the back of the house is 11 feet, 2.5 inches. I was just...
Yes, sir. Yeah, you're right. That's correct. But that's, the steps won't have a foundation. At minimum, or at most, maximum, there'll be 6 by 6 inch posts.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. All right, thank you very much. Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chair.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions on my right? Any more questions? Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
sir. Anyone else? In favor? Want to speak? Good. Anyone opposed? Case is closed. Board members, any questions of staff? Any general discussion? Very good. May I please have a motion so we can go home? Yes, sir.
Chairman, in the matter of BZA case 0525000867, I make a recommendation that we approve this variance. I find it meets all 7 criteria for approval. First, that there are extraordinary exceptional conditions pertaining to the property. The tree is in the logical buildable area of the lot. And we have heard that due to that fact and the desire of the property owner to maintain the tree, extraordinary efforts have been made to involve an arborist and in the planning for the addition to the home. Conditions do not apply to the other properties in the vicinity. This tree positioning is unique to this property and so meets that condition. Necessarily prohibits or restrict the uses of the property. The location of the tree is in the natural extension area if you want to make an addition to this home, so it meets that requirement. The variance will not substantially be a detriment to adjacent property owners for the public good. That will have no effect on adjacent property owners and will not establish a use not permitted in the zoning district. It will not. And the variance is not the result of the applicant's actions. Well, it is in the sense that he would not have this issue if he didn't want to extend the house, but I think the position of the tree and the size and shape of the lot clearly say that this would restrict any kind of addition to a home, and therefore it's not a result of his actions. And finally, it will not substantially conflict with the comprehensive plan. And my recommendation would include the 2 conditions that are cited by staff.
Second. Okay, very good. I have a motion that's properly moved and second. Any general discussion? Very good. Let's bring it to the vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. And raise your right hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, there's one that opposed. Very good. This motion passes. Thank you. Smith, you had a question, Ms. Brooks?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ms. Worker, let's find out about our next meeting.
Sorry.
Oh, wait a minute, I went too far. I went too fast. I'm trying to really get out of here, aren't I?
Yes.
All right, so your application has been approved. Congratulations. Within 10 days, you'll be getting information from staff letting you know the next steps in the process. Congratulations, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Do you know the name of Circuit Court Judge Roger Young? Was one of my classmates, a good friend in college.
Really?
I want my son to build a master bedroom.
These two nice young women are interns this summer.
I didn't see them. Come forward, ladies.
So they are observing this as part of their
They also went to,
So come to the podium and tell us
experience.
who you are and,
I knew they had to be.
I actually did see us when you walked in. You just chose not to speak.
well, I apologize. So tell me who I'm speaking to now.
I am Shelby White. I go to
know
Wofford
Chip, too.
College. I'll be a rising sophomore, and I'm an intern for the Planning and Zoning Department.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you learn a whole lot. And who else do we have?
I'm Sarah Newhard. I'm also a rising sophomore, but at College of Charleston, and I'm also an intern for the Zoning Department.
Great. Well, ladies, I know that you're going to learn a lot from this wonderful staff we're here. Take time to take a lot of notes so that you can take back to your prospective college whenever you get back. But this is an awesome opportunity that you are afforded. So please, ladies, don't take it for granted. Thank you for coming to the meeting today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
solicitor.
Yeah, so for August 4th, we do have a full agenda. So I was wondering if you wanted to start at 4. Yes.
I like getting out this time. It's a whole lot better. Would that interfere with anyone? And
You won't be here at all?
I may not be here.
Okay.
I will not be here at all.
Okay.
I'm not going to be here either.
I'll talk to staff.
Oh, gosh, it's too many stuff. When is that meeting?
August 4th.
I'm out of the country, actually.
Raise your hand if you know you're not going to be here. 1, 2, 3.
What time is it again?
I'm not a board member.
So Brown.
He doesn't count on this board.
What time would that meeting be?
we're looking at 4 o'clock.
4 p.m. if possible.
Do that.
I can do 4 p.m.
We got 10, right now we're looking at 10 cases.
4 o'clock.
Any
So
short-term
there's
rentals?
6 board members can attend, right? 6?
No, just.
They
4.
cannot?
No, how many can attend? Can.
can?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. You're out. Truesdale, you're out?
Don't know yet.
You're not sure? Okay.
Be traveling.
Okay. Yeah, I got home at 2:45, so that's why I'm a little bit groggy in the morning last night. That's all I got.
Okay.
I'm going to bed.
Great.
Well, thank you. Means
Continue
adjourned.
in
Thank you.
education.
One last thing before we go.
Yeah.
I just want to say, folks, staff, we really do appreciate your hard work and dedication. You do a lot of great work to make it easy for us.
Yep.
I also want to say that everybody's opinion is important in what we had to say. I don't want to ever have to stop anybody from, board member that is, from saying what they really say, because I believe that we all come from different jurisdictions, and what we say is important, and we want to bring all ideas to the table for the good of Charleston County. So let's always remember that, and I thank you for your service and your time and your dedication. Thank you.
Probably not.
Thank you.
I'll probably be in front of them later this week.
He's a good fella. He seemed to be a fair-minded judge.